Good evening, everyone. This is the December 7th Public Works Committee meeting. I'm joined by Lisa Dorsey, Bernie Flynn, Alvin Atelli, all the usual suspects. Item number 2, comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda. And we're going to have a little bit of a switch here. Actually, we're going to go to number 9. Number 9 is consider rejecting all bids for the Taylor Run wastewater treatment plant digester gas safety equipment upgrade and to rebid the project in 2022. Hello.
Hello. We received 2 bids. Months ago, you guys approved purchase of, something like that. Give or take $250,000.
What the heck is the digester gas safety whatever?
It is, the digester is what holds all the sludge. When it gets separated out of the wastewater, that sludge, and there's methane gas gets captured and released. This is all the piping, the regulating gas traps, all that stuff. The companies bid on the installation of it, and we want to rebid it. Change the some of the equipment, make it cheaper also. Galvanized pipe. Structure of the bid. Not better luck.
And this is a procedural step that council has to take. Once bids are submitted, you either have to award the lowest qualified bidder or you have to reject the bids. And the Borough Council always reserves the right to reject all bids, but you have to reject all bids. What we're recommending is that all bids be rejected because they came in over budget.
Yeah, I agree too. Ms. Dorsey?
Yes, definitely. We're going to change the some of the material.
Okay, thank you.
So that'd be a 3-0 recommendation to reject the bid.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for describing that thing. I had no idea what that was. Okay, now we're going to go to item number 2, comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda. Okay. Item number 3, consider awarding the installation of the Verizon streetlight nodes on the borough's streetlights to Lenai Electric Corporation in the amount of $133,803.67.
Hello. We approximately a week and a half ago, we finally took receipt of the 2001 Verizon light nodes, and we put the project out to bid for the installation. We had 2 bidders submit bids, Hobbs and Company and Lenai Electric. The low bid was Lenai Electric at $133,803.67. And we are recommending to award the contract to Lenai Electric. It is under budget. We had budgeted in 2022 $150,000 for that work.
Worked with this company a good deal, so we've been so far comfortable with the work that they've done for us.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm okay with this.
I'm okay if you start in Ms. Dorsey's district.
You stole my thunder, Bernie.
Start at 7 and work back to 1. Because it's so, you wouldn't believe, I mean, if you drive around nighttime, the 7th district, I don't know what it is, maybe because of the slope of the hill or the way the houses are aligned. it is really dark over there. I mean, from the Moose Lodge or the Elks Lodge, whatever it is, it just gets really, really dark. So if they could work backwards, it'd be awesome.
Well, the question during the bidding process was asked, and they are given the opportunity to prepare their own schedule on what areas they're going to work at. And basically our requirement is to do it the most efficient manner possible. So
I don't think we should approve it then, Ms. Dorsey. What do you think?
well, obviously we have to execute the contracts and things like that after council awards it. So it'll be sometime in January, assuming early January. And obviously it's going to be weather permitting also. I can suggest that. We're estimating about 4 months. I can have more detailed information once I get their schedule.
It's a 3-0 recommendation to approve that, giving the award to Lena Electric. Any comments, questions from people in the meeting? Thank you. Okay, item number, consider awarding the traffic signal improvements project to Miller Brothers in the amount of $508,839.38. This has to do with the just the revamping of the traffic light system in town.
Yes, this is a project that we received grant funding from the Greenlight Go program in the amount of $688,000, and the borough match is $172,000 for the entire project, totaling a budget of $860,000. That obviously includes engineering, and that's been going on for since 2019. Construction, inspection, and the whole thing. He bid, or I should say TPD bid, the base bid of the project included 18 intersections, upgrading the signals and the video detection system. So it's the closed loop system that corrects the timing of the signal, so you're hopefully hitting all green lights through the borough at one time. And then the video detection system also. So the base bid for the 18 intersections, the low bidder is Miller Brothers at $508,839.38. There was an alternate bid that included the remaining 11 intersections. PennDOT 1 came back and wanted us to bid that also, and adding those 11 additional intersections, that brought the total bid to $714,595. Unfortunately, by including the full project, the alternate, that put the project $107,000 over budget. So what we're recommending is to award the base bid to Miller Brothers, and that would bring the project in under budget at $108,655.
The better qualifications worksheet and disclosure, the forms that were submitted, do they still need to be submitted?
Yes. Yeah.
Or do you have any idea when that would occur?
They'll request it once we recommend award. So it'll be
Okay.
part of the contract, final contract documents that need to be submitted.
Okay. talking about this for a long time. Okay. It's easy. Any comments from people in at the meeting? Questions? So that'd be a 3-0 to award the traffic project to, or the light project to Miller Brothers. Item number 5 is more housekeeping stuff than anything else. We go through this every year. I'm going to go item A. What's the one you wanted to just do all of them in one fell swoop?
Yeah, I'll kind of go through all of them, but I put it in as all under item 5. These are annual contracts that we put out every year for the upcoming year. Some of these actually were put out late in 2021. So for instance, the materials contract, I believe, was put out in about April. So I wanted to try to get everything done in December this year so that they're all on, get it all on here in January and on with it. The first one is the furnishing of materials. This is roadway materials, asphalt, wearing course, base course, and cold patch, and then also various types of stone base material and backfill material and that type of thing. We only had one bidder on this, and that was Glasgow Inc. They are the contractor that has the current bid for 2021, and we've been very happy with them. So we're recommending that to award them the contract for 2022 based on their unit costs. The next item is the rain garden maintenance services. This again, obviously all of these are one-year contracts done every year. In 2020, All Seasons Landscaping, I believe, was the contractor that maintained the rain gardens, and this past year, 2021, it was M&M Landscaping actually was a low bidder. So we've had good experience with both bidders. This year, All Seasons Landscaping was the low bidder by actually $1,000 at $20,500. We're recommending awarding the contract to All Seasons Landscaping again.
Is it good?
Back to the furnishings estimate, Glasgow, why did we only have one bid?
On the materials bid?
Yeah,
I'm not really sure, but I know that there's a varying cost in materials these days. So a lot of the suppliers didn't want to get tied into to price that they can't make any money later on in the year. Essentially, they're really quoting us a price today for materials in June. A lot of the paving repair work, May, April. We'll start in April doing some repairs, but mainly in June and July, we're doing patching of potholes and things like that, or doing storm work and placing manholes and inlets. So they're kind of bidding really far in advance, and they don't really cost of material or oil in that case is going to be. So that's one of the reasons that we might be getting just one bid for that one.
so I just want to make sure I understand. We put this out for bid and we only got one
One bid for the materials contract.
back.
Yes.
Okay,
That actually happened again this year also. Glasgow was the only one who bid this year.
thank you, that helps. I just wonder how the other businesses that provide this service are staying in business or not putting Glasgow out if they're able to, in June, they have better prices. Or if they have higher prices, Glasgow has the market cornered, right?
Well, Glasgow, by putting out this bid, they're fixed in on that's price for the year. So they can either, if the prices go down, they can make a lot of money. If the prices go up, they're going to take a hit. Now, a lot of these quarries that are out there, they're supplying, we're a small contract for them, essentially. They're providing to Allen Myers, they're providing, Glasgow's a paving contractor. They're providing asphalt material to all these other paving, PennDOT and everybody else. So their volume is so high, that's why they're willing to do it, is just to have us as a client.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Item C.
Item C is the traffic and street signage contract. Basically, these signs are provided throughout the year. The current contract is with Garden State Highway Products, and once again, they were the only bidder on this. I was actually in contact with another provider, the contractor that provided the barricades and the road closure for the Gay Street closure this past year. And he outright told me that because of the cost of materials and things like that, cost of metal, that they wouldn't be bidding. So that was one of them. But we've had a long-standing relationship with Garden State, and they did submit a bid, and we've been happy with them in the past. So we're recommending approve to use them again in 2022. And the last one for the annual contracts is the shade tree planting contract. We had two bidders on this project, All Seasons Landscaping and Mayfield Gardens. Mayfield Gardens has actually got the contract for 2021, and they're in the process of finishing up the plantings right now. The bid, very close. The difference was $2 per tree, actually. That's for the installation of 200 trees, 100 in the spring and 100 in the fall of next year. And so we're recommending that All Seasons Landscaping is awarded the contract for 2022. They were the contractor in 2020, and they did a very good job also.
Okay.
Any comments or questions from people attending the meeting? Okay, so for item number 5, we have 3-0 recommendation for all 4 of items A through D. Okay. Item number 6, consider amending the sewer ordinance, chapter 89-1.1, capital H, to specifically state that it is the property owner's responsibility to maintain, repair the sewer lateral and its connection to the sewer main.
This is really something that way the borough has been doing it for years. Recently, the question has come up, and it's really not spelled out in our ordinance. So we wanted to make it clear in the ordinance, chapter 89, section 1.1H. And we basically just want to state that in that section, it states that it's the responsibility of the property owner to install the sewer lateral, make the connection at the main, and install the sewer lateral to the house or the building. And there's really not a statement in there that specifies that they are also responsible for maintaining that connection and sewer lateral. So that's what our request is, just to add that statement in there for clarification purposes.
Does that something that has to go to the solicitor just to amend?
Yeah, we would like the solicitor to have a look at any amendment to the law. And I wanted to, if I may, Chairperson, just comment that this is standard practice in a lot of municipalities for the landowner, be it residential, commercial, to maintain and warrant the use of the sewer lateral, the connection from their property to the main and the street, because there's a lot of things that can happen between point A and B, if you follow me, on private property that could endangered, wreck, destroy something, and if it's on private property, it's really a piece of the private property that needs to be maintained. We can't be held responsible for anything that's been done over the years on that private property, even selection of poor materials, erosion or settlement, all these things that could play out on a property. But this protects the borough, and I think it's overdue to specify in the ordinance.
I think this is good because this issue, oddly enough, has come up several times. I had one just recently where it was uptown, where they got Prescott Alley, I think it was, and because of a pipe going to business, and the business owner really wanted us to pay for everything. Pipe replaced with the repay. We didn't do that because it was a line going to basically private property. So, and then of course, the other one that occurs occasionally is you'll get someone that finds that they have a leak in one of their pipes in their house or in their yard, and they think that it's more from just they don't know the ordinance. I think that the borough should pay for that. It's not the way it works. And that's the way, as you said, we've been for years, but a lot of people just don't know it. And
Yeah.
okay. If that had happened less than 5 years before, I think we would have repaved it. Is that correct? If it's more than 5 years since it's been resurfaced.
Well, it had, on that particular instance, was because of the length of her excavation.
That's right.
That she was required to do it. That was really an oddity that really doesn't happen too often, where water service is over 100 to the main.
Okay, we had two people that, so why don't you come on up? And give us your name and your address, please.
Sure. My name is Kevin Mash. I live at 419 North Walnut Street. I can't help but think that number 6 has something to do with the conversation I've been having with Al's office recently and the borough, the codes department. There's a water sewer lateral issue apparently emanating from my property. Not on my property. It's underneath the public street. It's after there's a curb trap. So my sewer from my house goes out of my house and hits a curb trap where it stops. And then the service lateral takes the sewer line and runs that down into the sewer main. And what we're talking about here is the borough is wanting to put in writing that it's the responsibility of the homeowner to dig up the public street to take care of the connection between the private property sewer line and the service lateral that exists underneath the borough street. I'm in the process right now of getting quotes to do this. My initial response was, yes, of course, I'll do this repair. And I said this first to Kevin Gore, and I did say it to Al on the phone, where in the code does it specify that a repair made underneath a borough street is the responsibility of a homeowner? So it very much feels like this ordinance. I'm sure there's been conversations like this in the past because it is very hard to swallow. When there's an issue underneath a borough street, a borough resident has to pay for it. This code also suggests that it should be the responsibility of the homeowner to maintain that line underneath a public street. Well, if it's a public street, how is it reasonably possible for a homeowner to maintain, work on, or do anything to a pipe that exists underneath a public street? And then the other issue that I really had with this is if we are, as homeowners, responsible for the pipes underneath the street, does that then lend the possibility to the gas line underneath the street eventually becoming our responsibility? The water line underneath the street eventually becoming our responsibility? Both of those services, just like the sewer, you pay a monthly service fee for, but both of those services are the responsibility of the homeowner at the curb, where the junction is made to the homeowner's property. This seems like it's being treated differently.
I guess I don't understand what exactly is under the street? Is it the left?
Right, so on North Walnut Street, the sewer main runs right down the center of the street, okay? My property has a sewer pipe that comes out of my house and goes and stops at the curb. At the curb, there's something called a sewer trap, which is just like a trap underneath your sink, prevents gas from backing up into the house. My pipe goes into the sewer trap, and then the sewer trap connects to the service lateral, which is the name of the pipe that connects the curb to the sewer main. In my case, there's video evidence of that sewer main section shifting as well as my pipe shifting. And those two circumstances were responsible for a small sinkhole that developed in the middle of Walnut Street, kind of starting this whole process. So we're at a point now, I'm pulling quotes. One quote came in today, it's north of $20,000 to dig up the street, to fix a pipe in the street. Nothing on my property. We had our property scoped, our pipe is fine. But yet somehow, even though it's not in the code, I'm being told that I have to pay to get it fixed. So I'm here just trying to speak up against the possibility of this getting pushed in and the rules of the game changing as the game is being played. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't smell right. Mhm. Right. And to that point, the code does specify that for new construction, for anything new tying into the sewer, it is the responsibility of the homeowner to make that connection. Our connection was made 100 years ago. And like I said, it's not possible to maintain that connection. It's underneath the street. The street's been dug up and repaved 100 times in that period.
To what extent the borough have you taken this?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Have you notified the borough of what you need to do at your location?
They're the ones that have been telling me what I have to do. At this point, I've been working with 2 different plumbing companies to pull quotes so I could understand what the full cost ramifications will be. I know that those 2 plumbing companies have been in touch with Kevin Gore's office to understand more directly what's being asked of me. And certainly when I have those quotes in hand, I will be having a conversation with the borough. But again, I'm still trying to figure out where in the code it says that I'm on the hook for this.
Go ahead.
Sorry, what was your name?
Kevin Mash.
Kevin, I'm really sorry, first of all, that you're having to go through this problem. I can't think of a less sexy thing to have to spend money on, but
Sure.
so, I would like to say to council, allow us to get some clarification from the solicitor's office on this. I was going on the basis of just normal practice in terms of my career and how this has been handled, because the location of, where, in spite of the fact in Westchester, a lot of the geography is pretty regular. We have rectangular lots. The line goes straight out to the street. In a lot of different places, things are all over the place, and the trap can be anywhere. Connection can be straight. The connection can be 2 bends in it. Connection could have someone built something on their private property that made it fail at some point in the past. So there's lots of different things that could lead to sewer failure, including just age. Why don't I get some clarification from the solicitor's office on how we should do this? I still think it's a good idea to clarify what the rules are in the ordinance so everyone knows what's going on, but please include me in the conversations you'll have with I'll talk to Kevin Gore and we'll talk offline about your particular issue, because I want to know more about it. And again, I'm sorry you have to deal with this
I appreciate that.
this
Thank you.
problem. It's an awful thing to spend money on. There's way more beautiful things to spend your money on, and it's not cheap. I know that.
Might be 12 in that area, 12. Yeah, it's a there's parking on both sides of Walnut Street. Right. Yeah, and I think that's fair, and I don't know the answer. I don't think the answer exists. And that's why I'm here just trying to speak up before this gets put in the code. And the answer is there. Why is the answer there?
Is your
And
sewer,
is it the right answer?
pardon me for interrupting you.
Sure.
Is your sewer currently working a little bit?
Yeah, we're having no problems at all.
You
The
don't have
only
any-
reason we knew about it is because the borough did a scope of that pipe and saw that there was a slight
Okay.
disconnection.
Okay, we'll talk more then.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have your contact information?
I can leave it with you guys, sure.
That's all we need.
All right, that works.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Thank
Mr. Scott?
So, Mr. Mash lives 2 blocks from me. He's constituent. And I didn't get it. How do we leave it with his case? He's going to dialogue with nothing. Oh, there. Let me just say, with respect to his case, he favored me with a 15-minute video taken by a robot going through sewer, Walnut Street. And you don't want to watch it just before you eat. It's but the connection part is what is key there. To be sure, the connection where it marries up is off, and it needs to be fixed. But there's no indication that the that any of the linkage up to right where it meets the pipeline is a problem. He doesn't, one can't say that he has a bad or faulty sewer system, one that's falling apart. Just that where it connects and the situation that has to be looked at, which you don't have to be resolved. It's not really what's on your agenda. But what has to be looked at is why did it split like that? And there's all kinds of things that you have to consider. There was a sinkhole there. A lot of problems are involved with the Hickman and the trucks and so forth. But it remains to be seen that he, in his particular case, should be made to make that connection. Now, with respect to the question that's before you, the larger question, if I may offer my opinion, Kevin Gore sent him a letter citing 89-1.1H, which is the section just above E. I'm sorry, he sent E out, and the agenda talks about H. I'm not sure exactly what's in H, but Kevin Gore, made it clear that the ordinance requires what seems to be requested tonight. In other words, are you going to hold a public hearing for something you don't need to because it's already been said, and we have in writing that you have to fix this connection. Now, I'll go back and look at it because I suppose this will be on the agenda next week. But I wanted to come here to get bottom of it because it's a bit confusing and there's a lot of ramifications to it. But you should only have to repair the connection. It's the homeowner's fault or the property owner's fault that the connection split up. With the sinkhole there, there's other things. I don't want to argue the case now. I mean, see a lot of the cracks and deficiencies. Sewer main itself, which could result in a change in, I won't say altitude, but where it is, that could have broken it. Frankly, it likely is the case. So, wait and see what happens with Dr. Mash, but I'm going to recommend this. We amend an ordinance. I think you should think about it because one department says you already have it in there. Questions for me?
So I think he said we were going to, Mr. Metrick said he was going to take it back to the officer and the ordinance to find out what it says and who's responsible for what. That's where we left it with, right?
So we don't need to take this up tonight. Yes, we don't have enough information. You're,
Thank you.
in essence, correct. Yeah, thank you. Any other comments? Darrell?
South Walnut Street. What if the damage is caused by a street tree? Thank you.
What's the question?
He said what? Street trees, 6 years.
But he's consistent. He's consistent. Can't answer your question. Okay. Okay, item number 7, consider amending the tree ordinance, chapter 102-3E, to limit the tree removal reimbursement to 50% of the cost, up to a maximum of $750, conditioned upon replacing of the tree within 3 months.
Okay. A few years ago, the tree ordinance was amended for the borough to provide a tree reimbursement for any street trees that needed to be removed, whether they were dying, they were condemned by the arborist, whether they were dying or they affected with some sort of disease or anything like that. So the reimbursement after the removal of the tree was 50%. That currently for 2021, we've had 20 trees that have been reimbursed for removal. And the cost, the 50% reimbursement that the borough paid was $31,147.75. We still have 16 additional trees that have been condemned this year that are to be removed. Now, some of them might be removed in 2022. Some of them still might be removed this year. But on average, taking what the 20 trees cost, we're estimating almost $25,000 for the additional 16 trees. So the total for the 36 trees, the borough's contribution to that is over $56,000. There really isn't, and these are street trees only. And what currently is a lot of the situation right now is we have the tree planting program every year where we're planting 200 trees. A lot of these trees are not being replanted. People just don't want them, and so they're being removed, and we're losing tree canopy area throughout the borough. So what we're recommending is we want to update that so it's not as much of a burden financially for the borough to make that a 50% match up to a maximum of $750. But as part of that, it's contingent upon replacement of that tree. And that would obviously be done as part of the 200 trees that the borough replants every year. So it would be at no cost to the property owner. And if we did that as a comparison, if we did that, reimbursing $750, that $56,000 that we are paying for those 36 trees would actually come down to $26,365. And with that, though, we also get all those trees replanted, which we're not getting right now. So I'd like to amend the ordinance that we condition the reimbursement with planting of the trees also.
With, who would actually do, naive question, who would actually do the work? Could it be, obviously it could be any tree contractor or?
Yes, any tree contractor that the homeowner gets bids from.
A friend of mine called me today about this, and she couldn't be here this evening, but she wondered if our contractor did the work, would there be a cost, like an automatic cost savings there?
There could be, because we have, the borough has a contract with the tree consultant at fixed rates, hourly rates. So it would be based on the amount of time it would take to take it down, but they could always get an estimate from our tree contractor to do that.
Who makes the final decision to condemn a tree? Is it Mike, tree commission combination?
Mike Dunn inspects the trees and does a report and decides if it needs to be condemned or not.
Okay.
A couple of things, Sir Al. cost of taking down a street tree, it's like the street trees in my neighborhood. It's pretty expensive. It's $15,000, $20,000 to take down one of those trees. You know, hopefully if the wind blows, it blows it right in the middle of the street. My tree in my yard is 25 feet around. So it's a pretty big tree. And, you know, 50% of the reduction, that's what we've already always agreed upon, which is fair, you know, because, you know, I get a lot of benefit from that tree, that big oak tree. But the fact that once it's condemned and once it's taken down, if we can't get the tree in within 3 months, I don't think the resident should lose, you know, the ability, because it does say you have to do it within 3 months, lose their investment.
Yeah, I put in 3
Maybe
months
that
because
do it in the
that's,
calendar year,
what's that?
do it in the next planning season or next calendar year.
Yeah,
whatever
we
it
could
is.
do 6 months, probably puts us into the next planning season. Because our planning seasons are in the spring, usually around April, May, and early June. And then they start usually in early November through December. So there's really, can be done within 6 months, really.
Yeah, now we've had this discussion before. On South Church, I'll pick out a tree for you because it looks like the best Halloween tree in the borough. Because it's ready to fall down. It's right on South Church Street, right by Sharpless Garage. And it has arms bigger than houses down there, they're sticking out. Say the person living there cannot afford to take down that tree even though it's condemned. The borough deems it to be dangerous. What happens at that point? The borough is going to come in and take it down because they think it's going to fall and kill somebody. So is the homeowner, even if they're not financially able to pay for it, what do we do at that point? Have we come across that yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Not that, I haven't come across it. Now, I'm not sure if Mike Dunn has.
Right.
He's been here longer than I have, so that would be a question for him.
So,
I'm
so
not aware of any.
my question is, you know, not everybody in the borough has the wherewithal, you know, to take down the trees that we put in. And if my mind, if I remember, I believe that what we agreed upon was that we would take the tree down, whatever the cost is, and then lien against the property for that amount of money. I think that's what I remember. Do you remember that, Mr. Bracelet? Mr. Dorsey, I don't know if you were on council at that point, but I believe that's what we decided to do.
Okay.
But there it goes back to the person that can't afford to take down the tree to start out with. You know, are we going to gift them the 50%? You know, they can't afford to do it. You know, it's a slippery slope there for people that can't afford to do that. It's a question, you know.
Well, this ordinance, I think, the reimbursement's been around for, I believe, 2 years.
Yes.
So, you know, it's still an improvement on what it was before then.
Right. You owned it. You took it down yourself.
Right.
Yes.
It was their responsibility period
Right.
before, so. There's still a reimbursement, but again, we're kind of, part of the goal is to ensure that a new tree is planted, so.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that section because, you know, for like next week, Mr. Dunn would come an answer to that one that can't afford, you know, the $20,000 take a tree down. It's our policy, how we do it, because I don't remember. I remember, you know, we were going to put a lien against the property, but put the whole thing against the property just seems unfair, you know. Do you agree with that, Ms. Dorsey?
I'd like to understand it better. And yeah, I'd like to understand what it is for, you know, a tree that's been condemned, but the homeowner can't afford to take it down. But if right now our reimbursement is 50%, so let's just say it's $20,000 to take down a tree, we're going to reimburse the homeowner today $10,000 if they replant a tree, and we're proposing to cap that at 750. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
That's
what
a
I'm proposing.
significant change.
Yeah, but we haven't had any trees that are that expensive. Our highest reimbursement, I don't have the spreadsheet with me. I think our highest reimbursement was $3,000, so a total cost of $6,000 to take down a tree. That's been the highest come across.
Still significant.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
should revisit it, because I know it sounds strange coming from me, worrying about somebody else's money, but the fact is, we all live in the borough together, and not everybody in the borough can afford what they need to do. And if it takes, and you're just last, 6,000, and somehow they got to come up with 3. And now we're going to tell them we're only going to give them 750. That's a dramatic change in whatever it was. It's still better than what it used to be, but that's such a dramatic change.
Well, current situation right now is they are paying 100% up front. They're paying for the removal. Then we reimburse them
Right.
after. So it's not that they're still paying for it. So obviously got the money to
I mean, you don't want to be,
reimburse
in
50%.
don't want to be in people's pockets, right? So I could put that $6,000 on a credit card, understanding that I'm going to get $3,000 to pay it down. I'm trying to understand how we landed at 750. Like, what is the motivation for the 750?
Just thought it was a fair number. Well, there a lot of times, good number of these are in that range, or close to that. So that's how I came up with that number.
I think too, what we're trying to do is test the waters with the committee here to see, we're always looking for ways to cut back on costs, and wanted to test the waters with the committee to say, look, we're spending $56,000 per annum to assist homeowners to remove hazardous trees. Is that too much money? And that's a value decision that council can make. So we're bringing that to your attention. If the answer is yes, then we don't need to change the policy. But we thought it was worthwhile to bring it to your attention and propose an alternative that would admittedly, in that example, Lisa, hit the $6,000 tree owner harder than it would the person who spent $1,500 to remove a tree. But we're looking for a way to cut those costs in about half per year. If it's an area that's not something you recommend us investigate, then things as they are.
I do like the idea of requiring them to replant a tree to get the reimbursement, right? So within 6 months, you need to replant a tree in order for us to cut you that check. I'm really struggling with using it to maximizing it instead of something that could be, could be $10,000, could be 5, but that's a significant change, and it has a financial impact to anyone.
But sometimes home ownership hurts, think how much it costs to waterproof our basement so we didn't have flooding every time it rained. I'm thinking this might be something that the whole council ought to weigh in on. do you feel about that?
No, that's fine.
Because we have
council.
mixed
Sure.
things here. I'd be interested. So let's hold this off till next week
Sure.
at the work session.
Absolutely.
Hopefully,
I can provide you also the list of the trees and what their actual costs were. I do know that the highest cost reimbursement was for 5 trees. So they actually had 5 trees removed from their property, street trees, and first 50% of all 5 of them, and that was that total. That was close to $3,000.
all right, so the week will give us time for thought modification. Any comments from people at the meeting on this? Okay. Item number 8. Consider revising the fee schedule to charge a fee of $50 for large bulk trash pickup items and charging a recycling $10 fee for up to 17-inch tires and $25 for over 17-inch tires. Okay.
If you remember, I brought this, the bulk trash items, the fees, last month, and we discussed it. It's actually in the finance committee also the same thing, and it actually has the recycling of the tires. But I know there was more definition that was requested for bulk items. So I kind of, as far as the bulk items, there's mattresses and box springs, obviously, are the ones. Those are actually cost us $25 a piece to have them disposed of when we take it to the dump. So we are proposing a $50 charge, and also including items that exceed 75 pounds and are also exceed a size of basically 30 cubic feet dimensionally, for instance, 2 by 3 by 5. So including all those size items. And then as far as the tree recycling fees, currently the borough accepts tires for recycling. We actually pay to have them recycled, but residents don't get charged at all for them. So we're just charging them for recycling those tires, and $10 for essentially regular size tires, 17-inch tires, and then larger truck tires, that type of thing, $25 a piece. We actually had somebody drop off last week drag racing tires. They're slick tires, about this wide, so that we've got to dispose of, and those are gonna cost probably more than $20 a piece. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Now, is the, like, the items exceeding 75 pounds and 30 cubic, that's where you're trying to address refrigerators, freezers,
well,
air conditioning?
those items are actually separate. Those are electronic recycling, and those are, except those, they bring them to the Public Works office, and we store those in our garage, and that's periodically we have them come in and company come in and pick those up. That's something separate. Actually, they actually have to drain the freons from them and things like that. But that was something that Will brought to council before several months ago. Can't remember the name of it. Sorry.
I just have and this may just be me, how are we judging that something weighs 75 pounds or more or less? Like, so we're saying $25, right, for items exceed 75 pounds, right?
Oh, $50. It's $50 for all bulk items to be taken.
Okay,
Currently, we pay $25 for mattresses specifically. We have to pay for those. And the bulk items, usually, generally, it's something that at least two people to lift to put into the truck. 75. So usually 50 pounds, something like that. One person could pick it up and put it in.
I agree with charging. I haven't settled on the fee. You go from nothing to $50. Dollars is a lot for some people. I believe we need to charge a fee. It's not convinced it's $50. We do need to cover our expenses, right? So cost us $25. Charge 35 or 40.
Well, it probably costs us more actually because we have to put a second crew out to go pick these up. So it's costing us manpower, 2 people to go get these, aside from our regular trash pickup. So $25 is what we charge when we take it to the dump.
And I think maybe we should have this for discussion. I mean, I believe we need to charge a fee. I think all decided on that earlier. I'm just not convinced that it's $50.
So you want to hold this off till next week? Okay, we'll table this to work session.
Sure.
Okay? Is that okay? Okay. Item number 10, approve November 20 minutes. Seemed fine.
Yes.
3-0 for the minutes. And with that, we are adjourned, and this is my last Public Works meeting after 8 years, so I guess I'm adjourned too. Thanks, everyone.